So this flowchart is giving us the strategy for a certain spot. To understand how it works, we start on the left here. We consider each aspect of our hand and we follow the flowchart until we get a strategy to play in that spot. So first it has us considering, is the flop paired? If the answer is yes, we follow this yes here and we get a strategy at the end to play in this spot. If the flop is not paired, we follow this no, and now it wants us to consider our hand strength or showdown value. As we consider that, we consider there's 4 different possibilities it wants us to consider. At the end of each of them, it has a strategy for us to play in that spot, except for if we have a high card. If we have a high card, it then wants us to consider if we have a straight draw or not. And we can see if we have any straight draw, it wants us to play this strategy here, and no straight draw, it wants us to play this strategy here. Now let's consider the situation where we have ace-king on ace-jack-5. So first we consider, is the flop paired? Ace-jack-5 is not paired, so we follow this no here. Now it wants us to consider our showdown value. Well, we have top pair, so we follow this second arrow through here, because that is top pair and over pair. And here we get the corresponding strategy. Well, we bet pot quarter of the time, bet 60% pot 13% of the time, and we bet small 25% of the time, and check the rest. We can make adjustments to the strategy that the software gives us. For example, if we don't care about this consideration over a straight draw, we can just click it, and it will compress that part of the tree, or the flowchart, and give us the strategy for any time that we have a high card. Now let's say we want to increase the detail of the strategy. To do so, we can expand any of these strategies to provide more detail. To increase detail of a tree, we can click on any of the strategies at the end of the flowchart. By default, it will consider all properties of our hand and the board, and it will keep making decisions until it has 5 distinct strategies. We can adjust how this is done up the top here. So first I'll start by compressing this part of the flowchart that we just expanded. Now I'll say I only want it to keep splitting until there's 2 distinct strategies. And here we're back to the flowchart that we had before. But now let's just say we want to consider based on whether we have a flush draw and not a straight draw. To do that, we can deselect every property at the top here, except for flush draw. Then we'll compress this part of the flowchart and expand again. Now it's made a decision just based off of whether we have a flush draw or not. You can use this approach to customize the flowchart into a strategy that's easy for you to memorize and has sufficient detail for the strategy that you want to play.